to you by Grow Generation. Today's episode of the Cantina is, whether on Dagobah or Tatooine you are, everything you need to grow right where you are, they have. Later in the episode, more on them you will hear.
Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed.
I like that. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I get really frustrated at people all the time because not just 17 years of my service, but my dad's service as well. Like punctuality, people that don't show up at least on time drive me nuts. Absolutely.
It's one thing
nuts.
if you're late like every so often, but yeah, those people that are like habitually late to everything.
God, I
He's
can't.
trying to say I'm habitually late, because I'm never fucking late normally.
No, just messing with
Listen,
you this time.
You're working on like a time zone thing, so we understand you.
Yeah, just in general, I can't I don't think everyone realizes the amount of planning that has to go into this sometimes. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Star Wars stuff because it's the Cantina, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to it. It is the Star Wars show here on the Genreverse Podcast Network. I'm not sure who's feeding background noise, but I can kind of hear something. Someone's got
I've dropped something. Was it maybe that?
No. It's like white noise in the background. Anyways, I'm not sweating. Maybe it's an AC on. Anyways, brought to you guys by Grow Generation. As the voiceover at the beginning said, please do hit thumbs up, thumbs down as we go through the topics. If you like us, if you don't, we'll take the hate clicks. Genreverse Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcast from. YouTube channel from LRM Online, of course, LRMonline.com. Check all that good stuff out. I am one of the hosts here at this flying bar we call the Cantina. Kyle Malone, joined as usually by Cam and Shockey. What's up, guys?
Not a whole lot.
Good.
Yeah, it's been a while, but not an uneventful while. We got to chit chat a little bit last week about a few things, but God bless, did something big happen over the weekend? Or what was it, the weekend or early this week with Marcia Lucas?
Early this week.
Early this week.
There you go. It was like Monday, I think, maybe. And so guys, let's go ahead and everyone knows what we're talking about. Even the audience, George Lucas's ex-wife, quoted for a book for Howard. Say his last name for me. Howard Kazanjian. I think I'm saying it right.
Better than what I would have done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as good as a guess as I would have made.
Gian, I think, a producer's life. And she doesn't really say anything that hasn't been said by others countless times before. But I'll go ahead and read it just in case people didn't hear it. This is Marcia Lucas, who again, ex-wife of George Lucas. She was editor on episodes 4 and 6, I believe, or was it all?
So it was all. She worked on all 3. She's only credited on A New Hope, and which she won an Oscar for. Right. And she was credited on Jedi, but she did work on Empire, but apparently she was uncredited for it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So she has history beyond just being George's spouse, which is the point I wanted to bring up. So she says, I like, and this is in the book, I like Kathleen, speaking of Kennedy. I always liked her. She was full of beans. She was really smart and really bright, really wonderful woman. And I liked her husband, Frank. I liked them a lot. Now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. Now, the timing of this is around after the release of The Last Jedi and before Rise of Skywalker. She continues. They don't get it. and J.J. Abrams is writing these stories. When I saw that movie where they kill Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. I thought you don't get the Jedi story, you don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo. Let's just kind of break down that first quote. And we'll talk about some of the things she says about Luke and the Last Jedi specifically, but just her coming out the gate swinging. And I know I usually go to Cam first, but Mike, I'm gonna come to you, bud. What do you say, man?
All right. So it's not anything we've heard, really groundbreaking. It's her opinion on it, and pretty much, I think a majority, agree with her, when it comes to, Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams. Where I think she gets it wrong, though, is the Han Solo part, right? Harrison Ford wasn't going to do more than one movie. That was it. Like, it took a lot. Too. Right, but that was a special reason why he did he made, because that was supposed to be, the Leia, arc, and that was supposed to be Leia.
And
that,
he couldn't. And she couldn't.
You couldn't do it. So the direction that the J.J. Abrams went, and that's fine. But yeah, Harrison Ford didn't, and he has been adamant about it for years upon years after Return of the Jedi. He didn't want anything to do with Star Wars afterwards. He didn't like the fans. He doesn't go to the celebrations. He doesn't go to any of the conventions and anything to do with Star Wars. Not that he hates Star Wars. I think he just felt like, I'm bigger than just Han Solo. He does his Indiana Jones stuff, but if you notice, he's one of the very few actors that, on films like this, he doesn't hang on to it. He he doesn't try to milk it for what any extra cost or anything like that. It's just, that's who he is. And so for her to say that she didn't get why Han Solo died in the first one, that's straight up just basically, listen, we got Harrison Ford, Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams saying, we got Harrison Ford for one movie and that's it. How else are you going to explain him not showing up in the other two without him dying? What is he going to do? Just ride off in the Millennium Falcon and then that's it? All right, see ya. But we're going to keep Chewie and stuff? No, I mean, yeah. And it's his son, Ben Solo. All right, guys, I'm going to head on out, So, yeah, I mean, you got him. I know from hearing that the negotiations to get him back, to bring him back was tough. It really took a lot from Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, to really, get him to come back into the swing of things, because he just was done with it, which I understand 100%. So
he wanted to die in the OT.
Right. Yeah. He didn't want anything to do after Return of the Jedi and stuff. So for her to say that to me just means that you just either weren't in the loop, or you're just one of those fans like, oh, we could have had Han Solo for another trilogy and forever. No, you can't.
I will say this as we go over to Cam as an additional thought to go with it. It's been debated whether or not you really needed Han Solo to continue through the OT. We know that Lucas had his feelings on the character, which is why he survived. Survived,
right?
And she can have those thoughts as well. But Cam, knowing that and knowing what Ford felt and thought about the character, what do you take on her, or what's your take on her words and that particular situation?
I mean, again, I would just agree with what Mike says. At the end of the day, if they wanted to get Ford back, which they clearly did, although you could argue whether they maybe wasted some opportunities having all three of them back, but to have them back, if the condition was, well, I'll come back if you kill my character off, then that's just the trade-off you have to make. And if you're going to have to kill him off, you might as well make it as crucial and dramatic to the plot as you possibly can. So while I agree with her overall view of the sequel trilogy, I can't really agree with that point. I don't see where she's coming from. I really don't. If we know the rough how this all worked, why does she not know that was part of why Ford agreed to come back in the first place?
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and bring up my share screen again and look at the second big quote from the book that's been being discussed. I don't know why I brought the video panel up. Jesus, Kyle, can you even work today? No. So
there you go.
They have Luke disintegrate. This is Marcia Lucas again. They have Luke disintegrate. They killed Han Solo. They killed Luke Skywalker, and they don't have Princess Leia anymore because she had passed. And they're spitting out movies every year, and they think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. So now their main character is this female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but we don't know how she got Jedi powers. We did later, or who she is. We find out later. It sucks. The storylines are terrible, just terrible, awful. You can quote me, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, talk to me. Now, something I noticed is she uses Kathleen first, and then uses Kathy from there on out. It's kind of like how, if I am going to talk about Joe Quesada as, former editor-in-chief of Marvel and whatever position he's got now, I forget what it is. It's some weird hybrid thing. And anyways, yeah. But when I want to get at Joey Q, that's what I call him. If I'm trying to be an ass, he's Joey Q. If I'm talking one more day, it's Joey fucking Q. But no, and look, Joe Quesada definitely has done a lot for comics and Marvel. You can't take away the good that did come from the choices he made, artwork, and he's amazing artist regardless of what you think of his stories. But that stuck out to me. You could quote me on it. J.J. Abrams, Kathy Kennedy. I have this feeling that there's a lot of bad blood about and George Lucas himself, and Cam, I'll come to you first with this one. George Lucas himself even had to take a step back and critique his decision at times, it seemed. Not necessarily outright say Kathy, but you could tell where he complains about certain story points and decisions, and then he kind of just fades away, man. What do you take out of this, Cam? And do you think there's more to
well, I mean,
Kathy and Lucas's?
In terms of George Lucas, I mean, I think he initially figured when he sold it to Disney, this was kind of roughly how it went, and then Disney went, "No, this isn't how it's going to go, George." And then he went, "Oh, that sucks." And he just kind of faded away at that point, because I think he realised, well, it's done now. There's nothing I can do about it. I've made my bed. I decided I wasn't going to make any more Star Wars films. I've retired. That's it. So they can do what they want with it. Did he not give most of his money to charity and stuff like that anyway that he got from the sale, because he was already, insanely rich. I mean, this was $1 billion a year empire that he was entirely in charge of. So,
he still gets credits.
I mean, he still makes money to this day off it. It's just that's the way it was. But I mean, as far as not that we know much about George Lucas and his personal relationships or anything like that. And
I'm not trying to say anything about affairs or anything. So
no, he went through quite a bad time when the divorce happened in the first place. So I don't know how well he and his ex-wife got on these days. I mean, maybe sometimes they these things mend themselves over time, and maybe they talk now. I don't know. I think they do have one child. One of the adopted children was both of them that they had, but I think the rest after that were Lucas on his own, and she remarried, I believe. So I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. If we take her points again and we say, right, okay, she's talking about that they wanted to have a female, and there's this Jedi, and we don't know how she's got the Force. Well, I mean, is that really that much different from the position that we found ourselves in A New Hope with Luke Skywalker? No, it's not. I mean, you may be dissatisfied with the answers to those questions, which I was. I believe you were as well, to connect it to Palpatine. We didn't like that. However, even then, even if they'd went down the Last Jedi route, if you like, the way it was going, as that she doesn't need to have any special connection. Anakin didn't necessarily have any special connection. What's Obi-Wan's special? Why does Obi-Wan get Force powers? Do we need to know the entire family history of every Jedi? We really don't, you know. I mean, that Star Wars Visions is out, and you just accept the fact that in Star Wars, some people are going to get Force powers, some are not. Some will be more powerful than others. Maybe not on the Anakin Luke level, because that was a little bit, you know, chosen one special and all that sort of stuff. And I guess Palpatine as a Sith Lord had amassed a lot of power, but you know, but even then, to connect the blood relation back again and bring in Palpatine, I didn't like. But that's not what she's criticising in that statement. She's criticising that that basically that they never gave a reason for Rey to be the new hero, but they could have easily done that in so many different ways that would have been better than what we did get. What I personally do agree with is the power creep was always an issue for me in Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, it's not even that movie. Rise of the Skywalker. It's such a stupid fucking name for a Star Wars movie. Right? Anyway, but in that movie especially, you just get, and I feel like through the whole sequel trilogy, I just felt this power creep in the Jedi, and especially from Rey. Like, she just is able to do everything that Luke learns to do much easier. You know, she almost goes through the development that Anakin does across 12 years of training in the Jedi Temple, across what is the shortest. We have to always remember, and this was the way J.J. Abrams decided to do it, the sequel trilogy takes place over a much shorter period of time than the old trilogy. So Luke has years to get from where he is in A New Hope to where he is in Return of the Jedi, and a lot of shit he has to go through along the way. When he fights Vader in Empire, he gets his ass kicked. Vader is toying with him. It's a boy against a man. A half-trained boy.
That's the only reason Luke lands that hit. Vader gets pissed with it. He's like, okay, done playing.
You never felt like that with Rey. You always just had that feeling that she would beat anybody that she was fighting. She would learn any skill that she had to do. And I thought that they were setting that up for something grander. You know, there was some grand reason behind it. But when it turned out she was just a Palpatine, you just start to think, is that really good? No, it's not a great story. But again, I have to go back to that comment, and that's not really, apart from a tiny little bit, what criticism Marcia Lucas is given here. Some of it seems to be pandering almost towards that crowd of, you shouldn't have picked a female hero. It almost feels like she doesn't say that. You and I agreed right from the start, sorry, Kel, that choosing a female hero this time was actually the right call. We both felt that was absolutely the right call to do this time. So, you know, I just don't buy that at all. Anyway.
Just to pass it over to Mike with that, the one thing I wonder about when I mean some bad blood with Kathy is that Lucas seemed to have some trust in her, and her going forward with his ideas, at least as a basis. So I'm wondering if that Kathy is a line to that. Do you think they feel, even she does, because she was there for Star Wars' birth. Do you think there's some betrayal feelings, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it, you know, Kathleen Kennedy was there at the beginning of Star Wars. She's, you know, so she's been throughout the timeline. So some of the, like, I agree wholeheartedly with Cam. Like, some of this argument is just baseless. It's just more, you're getting petty now, and you're picking at things. Did you care about, you know, do you care if it's a female or male? Okay, whatever. You know, it's you have Kathleen Kennedy, who's a woman in charge of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It's gonna, odds are going to say that she's going to want a female lead. It's some capacity. Maybe not a Jedi, but something else. So I mean, it's understandable. I mean, you look at how many fans Leia had from the original trilogy. How many fans Padme had from the the prequel.
Solo.
Yeah, I mean.
Mara Jade
was, in the 90s.
Look at how popular Ahsoka is as a character.
So
that's
to say that,
well.
Listen, and we can nitpick the storyline and so forth of how Rey got her powers and so forth. It's story going back to how the adults at the time when the prequel trilogy came out, how they nitpicked over everything, in the story. Okay, we could sit here and go over all that, but it's not. It is what it is. Everyone has their favorite trilogy. Some it's the OT, some it's the prequels, some it's the sequel. And you're gonna see it's the younger kids that are more fans of the sequel trilogy. Young girls that are fans of Rey. There's young minority kids who are fan of Finn. Seeing a person of color. In Star Wars in a real role, not just Lando Calrissian who just shows up here and there in Empire and Return of the Jedi. So I mean, okay, you didn't like the sequel trilogy. It wasn't my favorite either. The one thing I will say that my critique on Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams was they should have put Rise of Skywalker on delay. They should have said, all right, we see the backlash from Last Jedi. Instead of trying to rush it, let's pause. Instead of trying to get it out for December, push it back a following year. I would listen, if they had settled and said, delayed for an entire year to 2 years, but you're going to get a better storyline, or we're going to make things connect a little bit better. All right, I can get that. I mean, look what Mandalorian is doing. Look at we had Mandalorian end in what was it, November? November or December?
Yeah, December 2020.
Yeah. That's
2019, because that's when the Cantina first started, and we were doing.
But season 2
was 2020.
Season 2 was 2020,
and
we're now in 2021. But waiting.
Yeah,
I know.
And so when Disney Plus announced, or when Disney announced that we're not getting Mandalorian for an entire year, people were freaking out. Like, oh, we're getting Book of Boba Fett. Well, we had to wait an entire year for this. Why is that? Because Favreau and Filoni said we're going to take our time. We're going to, we're going to get through this. We're going to do this story right. And that's my only thing. I think Iger and Kathleen Kennedy learned their lesson from the sequel trilogy. It's for Star Wars. It's not the best, but it's in there, or I'll accept it, and I still watch it. But we don't need it thrown down, in our face every single minute and stuff. And I think sometimes we overreact when we say, "What do you mean we're not getting Star Wars? What do you mean we're not getting it?" But then when we do get it, it's pretty damn amazing. I don't know, what was it? I think it was 2019 when we did the story that and I heard that we're not getting a movie until 2023 or something like that. And we're pretty damn close to it, and everybody thought I was crazy. And I said, listen, they're holding off. They're just making sure they got everything done right. They learned their lesson, and so I'm happy with that, because now what we will get, hopefully will be better. Maybe you might not like it. Maybe it might be not your cup of tea, but
hopefully it'll be structured better. Yeah,
structured. There you go. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
I like that, and I have a lot of fears, and it's kind of funny to think what if they had said, "Hey, we're going to delay episode 9 to May of 2020." Imagine where we would be at.
Ridiculous, right?
But no, it's a
Black Widow all over
point.
again.
It's a valid
kind of. Don't know. Almost glad that didn't happen.
I know.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't
because that's the one thing I would say. I think it was too late.
Get it
by
out,
then.
done
I think where they needed to delay it was before they started it. They rushed in too quick at the start after they bought it. Get the next film out, decide what we're going to do, and they didn't have a plan. And even as much as I'm not a fan of Abrams, I would never have picked him for that project. I never would have. But even he said he wasn't given a hell of a lot of time at all. It was really rushed.
He didn't even really want it either.
Yeah,
they kind of coerced him into it.
I don't know. I just think that's where the mistakes were made. But anyway, they were made, and we have to live with them.
Pretty much. The one thing I'll say, what makes the whole sequel trilogy fall apart for me, and you guys are 100% right. Episode 7 and leading into 8, not the way it ended, but leading into 8 follows just like 4 and 5, where we don't know a whole lot, and then the chapter 5 is supposed to be where you learn the background, which I still insist. While I don't like all of the choices of the Last Jedi, if they had leaned into that, we would have gotten a better movie than The Rise of Skywalker ended up being. Mm-hmm. If her background was nothing, nobody, you're just powerful, and if they had explained a couple of things, including her ability to mimic Force abilities by having a Force connection with them, like she did with Ben, if they had explained that and leaned into the fact that she's no one, I would have bought it a lot easier.
Easily. I would have bought it.
The thing is, Kyle and Mike, they could have done that if they had cut out some of the stuff that they really didn't need to spend time on in The Last Jedi. They spend too much time in areas that we don't need them to. And, the most interesting part of that film was whenever Rey and Kylo Ren linked up together. Yeah. That was you're like, wow, this is new, this is cool, but it just almost didn't go anywhere in the end, and that was the issue with it. But again, given more time under a different hand, maybe they could have made a good sequel trilogy, but hey, nope.
Yeah, I guess to get over to another point that I think Miss Lucas had an opportunity to touch on, and I almost feel because of the way she brings up a woman's audience, specifically that phrase, and then later on brings up Rey as a female, goes to something we've discussed on this show other times on the website, and that is the idea of how big is the female audience, and is the sacrifice of catering to it instead of just broadening Star Wars, because there is a difference. You can broaden something without catering.
Correct.
So was that worth the sacrifice? And I think Miss Lucas may have, and you never know how these interviews are when they say, hey, you got 5 minutes, and books are like movies. They're cut together and edited weird. So I did kind of feel like, because she mentions a woman's audience, it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. And then later on talking about Rey, I do think that there's a valid discussion there. And it goes to that whole idea of nature versus nurture. Jammer used to talk about, girls and gatekeeping. And I'm like, yeah, but does gatekeeping really happen a lot now? And then he's like, well, after, so long of it, you just won't have, it'll take a long time to get the interest back in. And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of been like 25, 30 years of less gatekeeping. What do you guys think? Is there still a point to discuss? Should Star Wars give up this idea of, let's just colloquially call it, the idea of the Force is female, and just go back to the may the Force be with you? Mike?
So
has it financially been
here's what I'll say. Financially, yes, without a doubt. Financially, yeah.
Really, toy sales went where? Book sales went where for all the female-led outside of the
but the movies still made more money than the prequels.
Outside of the movies alone,
right?
Which all had
but what you got to understand
audiences.
Who tends to buy toys? Boys do, right? But then we don't look at the sales of like costumes and things that are like designed for girls. That actually was a significant increase. So yeah, it was a trade-off. You lost a little bit in toy sales, but you gained
merchandising overall was down.
Right, but merchandising in itself, like
that's Star Wars' existence, Mike.
Yeah, yes and no. Like, right. So
Was a lot of that not nostalgia for the old trilogy? You know, so they brought something new, you had to have it. But the more they expand it, sometimes you think, okay, I don't need to have everything anymore. You know,
right? And we got to look
at the prequels, man. Even though those sucked, people bought toys out the ass.
But toys in general are down. But you got to understand, toys in general are down, and that's it's because technology's taken over. Kids don't want handheld toys anymore. They want iPads. They want video games. They want their cell phones, right? They want apps. It's everything is tech based, and so that's where we we get this misconception. Oh, merchandising's gone down. Yeah, but really, So a good example of this. Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice of Ahsoka Tano, she has a clothing store that she started probably like now 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe more. No, it's 11, 12 years ago because they just celebrated 10-year anniversary at the last San Diego Comic-Con we were at. So 12 years ago. She calls it Her Universe. And it's a clothing line specifically for women that celebrates, originally it was Star Wars and it is expanded out into like Harry Potter and other Disney products as well. And she, every so often will release like men's clothing and stuff. But the Her Universe line sells out crazy, at Disney parks. Whenever they do an exclusive, sells out like crazy. When she does an Ahsoka Tano, limited release, dress or whatever, or Rey Skywalker, boom. So. Right, you're right. Toys are down, and the sale of toys for Star Wars are down, and it's more collectible items. You look like Sideshow is booming business right now because we were the ones that bought toys. Now we're older. We have a lot.
But what toys do they make? What collectibles are they making for them to sell EU stuff? So just saying.
Yeah. Oh, they do. They make EU stuff, and they make a wide variety and stuff. But we have adult money now, so we can buy those fancy toys we've been wanting. So I mean, look at
Yeah, but ST stuff is the one that's not selling. Kel's right on that.
Because it's a different market now. It's a different right. So
but the prequel, but Mike's right as well because the prequels are selling.
Yeah. Here I'm gonna. Let me do it with a camera here so you guys can see. So let's see here. Let's see. All those toys up there, all those all these comic books, and I have them all around my office here and stuff, and I'm the one who bought them. But there's no more Toys R Us, there's no more KB Toys, all those toys to buy those things at. You have to go to a comic book shop to get them. Hell, even comic book sales are down. I mean, you think about it.
And in my experience as well, something I experienced with my son, because he did like toys. I mean, some kids will still like toys. He plays video games, but he really loved figures. So when he went through his Star Wars, fix, he wanted the best looking figures he could get. And most of the stuff they sell in shops these days is actually really cheap quality design for kids to basically chew on and throw in the bin 3 months later. It doesn't move very well. And he wasn't interested in that stuff. So I spent birthdays and Christmases scouring the internet trying to find the actual decent stuff that they wanted and trying to buy it on eBay and all this sort of nonsense. And it was really, really difficult. You couldn't just walk into your local supermarket and pick them up after a time. When he was younger, you could, but you saw it just evaporate as the years went on, in my experience.
Yeah.
But going back to your original question, right? So was it worth it? Yes, it was worth it because you broadened the merchandising. It went, granted, your merchandising is no longer just toys. It's, it's other things.
Oh, it's never just toys, but yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get you on that. But you're now selling a lot more different products there. If you went to any of the conventions prior to the sequel trilogy, there were plenty of females there. There were plenty of women, little girls, Leia fans,
Ahsoka, like you
Ahsoka, right before the sequel trilogy. You go still to Harrison Dula fans. There's, plenty of them, right? Yeah. What Rey did was just basically say, okay, we didn't really have a dominant leading Jedi. Here you go. We have everything else female-wise, but we just didn't have one that was a Jedi that,
played a movie.
In the movie, right?
Yeah.
Here you go. Ahsoka was on that route, but she was always the Padawan. She didn't really. It was always with Anakin. Yeah. And so Right, and so now what Rey gives you is, all right, here's that female lead. Finn gives you, here's that, person of color. Oscar Isaacson playing Oscar Isaac's playing Poe. Another right there. So it's just, was it force fed? Maybe for some people. To me, it didn't really matter.
I know there was a huge, and I'll pass it to Cam, and then we'll take a quick ad break and talk about something else. But I know that going into episode 7, merch through the roof. I know even Brian Brantley does Anime Versal with us. He went into Phasma hard even before the movie. He went full Jar Jar, right. Like before the movie, and then legitimately by the time we start getting merch reports in the summer of 16, 17, whenever Solo came out, 18, when we start getting reports there and we start seeing that everyone just dumped Star Wars merch except for specific, like you pointed out, OT, certain PT items, high end for us and those millennial and Gen Xers specifically. It's really interesting to me that never recovered, that we were our generations that supported it through the 90s green box, and the big buff characters, supported it through the PT, and then supported it into episode 7. We all said nope. Not all. I know there's people out there that still got it, but a huge chunk said no, and that's why I pointed out, could they have broadened Cam versus catered and not lost anything, or lost less and gained more?
I think we're looking at the wrong thing. I don't think it was anything to do with how they had a female lead. I think it was simply that the stories that they were telling weren't engaging people in the same way. I think if the stories had been solid, having a female lead would have made absolutely no difference. And in my opinion, it was the right call to make, because all I can say is, me as a Star Wars fan, have no issue at all with a Jedi character who's female being more powerful than other people, because there is no gender power in the Force. It doesn't matter. Physical strength's kind of irrelevant when it comes to Force users, or else what's Palpatine so powerful for? Because you can push him over with a stick. He's tiny and he's frail and he's old, and look at Yoda, so how can Yoda be that powerful and he's this tiny little green alien, but we can't have a female be that powerful? It doesn't make any sense to me. And as a kid, what I wanted to see next was Leia getting taught, and Leia become powerful, and Leia become a Jedi. And I was a guy who liked action heroes, and was probably one of those kids that didn't buy the female characters sometimes because I didn't have as much fun playing with them, which is just a boy thing. It's just a boy thing.
It is. It's completely.
But what I would say is that there is still going to be those people who are only going to like dude stuff, and there's still those girls who are only going to like girl stuff, so having a female protagonist did absolutely nothing to make my wife interested in Star Wars. She will never be interested in Star Wars, and being married to me, that must annoy her greatly. But I mean, I can get her into other things I like sometimes, but Star Wars, she just taps out on that. She just can't do it. I'll tell you this: my daughters, they like Star Wars because of Ahsoka and Rey. Like that's that's so cool, like that will maybe work for some young. And my sister's always loved Star Wars just as much as me, and that was just growing up with the old trilogy. So it didn't matter to her that that there was no female Jedi at that point. It's not as if she always wanted to be Princess Leia. She just loved the films for what they were. Yeah. Right. So there was people on all sides, but at the same time, there was also, you've got those butch guys who, aren't really into anything, they're not really geeks like us, and they just watch whatever's supposed to be good at that time. Right. And I've got a lot of people I grew up with that are like that, and they're not geeky like me, those guys will go and watch the Marvel movies at the moment because the buzz is about it. They like them. They go. They have a good time. They come back. Great. They used to be like that with Star Wars, but they're not like that anymore. They don't go and watch Star Wars films anymore. But a lot of that to me is the reaction to the prequel trilogy. Still, for people that age, is after those last ones, I'm not interested anymore. Yeah. They've done it to death. Yeah. And they're not, so they don't even give the sequel trilogy a chance. Never mind that it's nothing to do with it. It's a female. It's just you had your chance. You blew it, and now I'm not going back again. I'll go and watch Fast and Furious 9 instead because it's got fast cars and goes pew 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 pew. Yeah, which is genuinely what some people like.
Man, that's fine. And I let me add an additional layer of clarification. When I'm saying catering, I'm not just talking about having a female character. That's not catering. I hope no one out there takes me as saying that. Catering means exactly what Cam's pointing out. Story elements, because there is a modern need for female leads to fit a certain style of character, and you see it in Captain Marvel. They made fun of it in What If this week. It was kind of funny. You see it in characters across all sorts of mediums, from printed comics to games. There's certain ways to do things, and then marketing, which is key. Marketing is everything, and we've talked often about how the way you cut a trailer, to the slogans, to the design of box art, even all of that marketing comes into play. And that's why I brought up the phrase the force is female, which was a big marketing thing in which a lot of people felt that they were excluded in that. And that's what I specifically mean by broadening versus catering. In this case, it was kind of like, hey, we've got the guys on lock. We don't care. We're going to focus on all of the messaging to this one group. So, that's my take on it. I think catering, the way that they didn't necessarily get them as much as if they had just broadened. I think alienating at any alienating any time in business is not a smart move. I don't know. You guys got any other takes on that?
Oh, we could do this for hours. But yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll take a word from our sponsors over at Grow Generation, and then, we'll talk a little bit about Disney Plus Day, guys.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. For all of your cultivation needs, Grow Generation has the right products, service and staff to make your grow successful. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the show, Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. Disney Plus Day. It's coming, guys, November, and someone named Shockey actually kind of called this a while ago.
Give me credit for this, because if it doesn't come through.
No. Not called it as in like himself, but
just guessing time.
Stuff like that.
We'll say that. I guessed.
Sure.
I guess, yeah.
Well, that's what calling something is.
Yeah, I just don't want it to come back. You said this.
No.
Not in terms of sources. Just like like when we just guess stuff and we get it right.
I called
that.
Yeah. Listen, that whole Mando trailer thing is
no.
That's what it is. You're just we're giving you
PTSD from that one.
You called us.
It's okay. You're in a safe space, mate.
You pointed out, and you hit it, and it could have went that way, but it didn't. It went the way you guessed. Yes. Anyways, Shockey kind of said that he could see November being a month for us to get some reveals, whether it was trailers or information, photos. And one of the things that you really thought we would see made a lot of sense was Book of Boba Fett, and then you kind of went on to like what you expect for Celebration. And again, we'll see if you get that call right as well. But tell us about Disney Plus Day, man.
Yeah, so Disney Plus Day is basically just something new. They're kind of branching out, and now Disney Plus has a strong lineup of different shows and different movies coming up. Now they're basically establishing it as its own day instead of being a part of Investor Day. And they're kind of showing off what's coming up, trying to get more subscribers from this is the whole shebang now for Bob Chapek and Disney is how can we get more people to subscribe to Disney Plus and have your own day, announce what's coming up and the different lineups. There's some things like was it Jungle Cruise coming out pretty shortly. Shang-Chi, that was the big surprise, I think, for most people, is because it's past the 45-day window, or it goes further past the 45-day window than was originally thought. So I guess it's showing that.
But then the 45-day window is for paid.
Yeah, for paid.
So that'll be in PVOD and in that time scale. But this is them just saying it'll be free to all subscribers. So you'll still be able to rent it before then if you want, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, exactly. But that was kind of a big shocker. So something's going on behind the scenes, Disney with the release of Shang-Chi and then, the release of it for video on demand. And so that was the thing. But then, of course, we're getting it hasn't been exactly told what it is, but it's a sneak peek or, behind the scenes look, something for Book of Boba Fett, which will be in December. Still has not been announced what day that will be. They're keeping that under wraps. Some are speculating right at the beginning of December. Some are saying Christmas. I could see either or. I think it all depends on. Yeah, I think it all depends on how fast Kenobi can get through editing, how fast Andor can get through editing. Mandalorian season 3 now. There's some rumblings. I've heard around that. It might take a little bit longer to get done because there's a possible strike going on over.
Yeah, I've heard about this as well. Yeah.
So if that happens, right in the middle of production of Mando season 3, that's not going to be good. And so I do,
especially as it's based around the sort of California area, isn't it? The strikes, so that's going to affect anything that they try to film in the volume. Which guess where that is? LA.
Yeah. And I do know. From just recently that it's not delayed or however you want to call it. So Ahsoka, Lucasfilm was hoping the earliest they could start shooting was early 2022, so like March-ish and stuff, but that's starting to get pushed back now that they've already had meetings saying that looks like that's not going to be a feasible target date to start filming for Ahsoka. So they're kind of preparing to shoot later in the spring, maybe summertime, for Ahsoka, depending on if the strike happens, how it will affect production. So, but anyways, going back to Disney Plus Day, I think we're getting the trailer then, and then the following week is a D23 celebration in Orlando at Walt Disney World, and it's not a studio event. This is a D23 is like the fan club for Walt Disney World, and they're hosting an event. It's the first time in a while in Walt Disney World. Usually they do D23 events over in LA, but there is a hidden top secret screening of some sorts for the Disney Plus view, so you can go to the theater that's located at Disney Springs, and you select a certain time and you can go and you can watch it. And some people are thinking that you're going to get you're going to be able to screen the first episode of Book of Boba Fett there. That's cool. Yeah, the D23 event usually they go big for the D23 celebration in Anaheim. They always have big releases and previews and stuff to go through. So I can't wait to see it.
I'm down. It is kind of frustrating to think about how long we wait for trailers and stuff. The idea of a show that comes out this December and not getting a trailer till 5-6 weeks before it might even hit is kind of crazy. But
this is what Marvel are doing as well. This seems to be Disney Plus's strategy because they want to focus on what is next up. So there's always something that they're focusing on, and it's close to coming when they promote it.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it's just weird because it's different. It's not the way things have gone in the past. Look, every sequel trilogy trailer, people kept forgetting like how long they did make us wait. And the waits for 8 and 9 were almost the exact same. And it's just still so new because you still have a lot of properties that release trailers, 5-6 months out, and it's going away, and it's because of the way we consume media. We
can see it a lot more. Like with the internet now, we can watch and break down a trailer and get every single detail out of it.
You don't need to put it out six months for people to absorb anymore.
Well, and
they'll forget about it.
There's another aspect you're not thinking about. I think it's because they're churning out so much at such a high budget at the moment that these things aren't finished as early on. They're not, finished. They're doing those finishing touches. Look at how late they've been working on some of these shows right up till release. So maybe it's actually more difficult to put a trailer that will look good together at such an early stage as what they were used to. So they're experimenting with this strategy to see if it works.
And the old PR model too with trailers was that you would put out that teaser trailer 6 months out, then you put another trailer out, about 2 to 3 months after that, and then one final trailer. And you almost got the whole movie. You got the basic big plot points because, of course, they're companies that make the trailers, right? It's not, for the movies, there's companies that actually do that. And so a big complaint sometimes is, you showed all the best parts, you showed all the best jokes. Yeah. I think what Star Wars
prefer when a director does their own trailers, like James Gunn cuts his own trailers.
So, when Filoni does Mando, he only gives you the first 4 episodes, and he gives you small clips, and it's like, okay, and so then the last, 4 episodes, you have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So, how much of a trailer can you do if you're only showing the first half of a movie or first half of a show? You just need one. You just need that kind of, hey, here's what you're going to see in the beginning, but you're not going to know what's coming at the end.
Yeah.
That's the way trailers should be. I mean,
yes, I agree with
Sony are the worst. Sony are always the worst at everything, but so many movies that they put out, I just feel like, I don't need to watch this anymore because by the time the movie's out in theatres, I already know everything. And by the time it's been in movies a week, it's like, well, if you didn't see it, we're going to spoil it even more. In the TV spots now, it's like, let's get them back to see it again, almost before people have even had a chance to see it the first time. And I just don't appreciate that.
Things are so front-loaded, though, Cam. Like, you and I know it's really different for you, but you might not see it over here, but the way media is consumed and that idea of instant gratification, like, it's all changing, dude. And the way you and I are it's just not the way even people in our own ages, like even like I said, the oldest millennials, the younger Gen Xers, like us three, we are different. So it's weird. Like, I can't say it's bad, but it's weird. Anyways, what do you think might, besides what they said and what we're expecting from Book of Boba Fett, Cam, do you think there might be some surprise we might get? Maybe
I think
Feige or not Feige, Taika's movie or some shit. I don't know.
I genuinely don't. I think they'll just focus.
It would be for Disney Plus sake. Yeah,
they'll just focus on Boba Fett because I think it's too early for Obi-Wan or Andor. Yeah, I think they'll just focus on Boba Fett, and all they've said so far is it will be a look back at the legacy and history of Boba Fett. So they've not said anything about looking at the upcoming show. However, you'd have to be an idiot to think that far out from when it's going to hit that they're not going to finish off their legacy of Boba Fett thing by saying, oh, and by the way, here's what comes next to Boba Fett's life. Let's go.
This is what it's setting up for.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't do it, it would be almost ludicrous. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But yeah, that's all I think we're going to get. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah, with that, guys, we'll go ahead and call it. Thank you guys so much for watching today or listening, however you're consuming us. Just make sure you consume more. Leave some comments. Join us in the comments. We would love to hear from you guys on today's topics and how we can do better with this show and the site. Speaking of the site, it's lrmonline.com. Go there every day for all your entertainment news needs and opinions. We have a lot of celebrity interviews that go up on our YouTube channel and are also on the website. Spanish language exclusives, A-list talent guys. We've had Marvel, we've had Fast and Furious, we've had it's all there. And of course we have great video podcasts like the Daily Cup of Genre, the Animeversals reviews, and Midnight Run, Cantina, and all those are of course podcasts, so they're available in audio on the Genreverse Podcast Network. Check it all out. Like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. Cam, got anything you want to say?
Couldn't say it better than you.
Thank you. I know. That's why I say it. Mike.
I agree with Cam. You got it.
All right, guys. The social media information down below. Follow us. Have a good week. We'll talk to you. Oh, Star Wars Vision Animeversal Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, crossover.
Oh, yeah?
Visions. Cam will have something to say, but I'm saying may the Force be with you. Bye.